Welcome back and thank you for tuning in. I am Viveca with Grace of Elegance, and today's project I will be working with the Perfectly Pieced box that was dated back in October 2025. Now I have a lot of those little orange boxes and I love their projects, so I've got to play catch up. So what you will see happening today is I will be unboxing the project, cutting the fabric, organizing the fabric, hooping the fabric using the SEWTECH magnetic embroidery hoop, which is a 6x10, and the part number is SA441MK. I will be making block 1 and block 2, which are 4-inch blocks. And also I will be squaring up the blocks. Now this was a very fun project and I enjoyed it. So if you find anything that you liked or you enjoyed this video or you learned something from the video, if you would like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. And we look so forward to seeing you back here again for any other videos because we don't want you to miss any of your notifications. SEWTECH has provided a coupon code and a link for your use. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I do appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you again. Bye. Wow, it feels like Christmas time all over again. The Perfectly Pieced box by Kimmerbell. I love to see this box waiting on me at the doorstep. They had many projects in this box. The Perfectly Pieced box, and this one came out in October 2025. They do not make or carry the Perfectly Pieced box anymore, but I wish they would bring it back. Now you're taking a look at the instructions. And it lets you know all the different projects and the instructions that you can use with your Perfectly Pieced box. These instructions come in digitally, and you can always find your instructions at Kimmerbell. On the back, it gives you ideas on what you could make with your Perfectly Pieced box and the materials and everything that was inside the box. It was always like Christmas time. And on this, it lets you know exactly what was in the box here. I love this. There's many goodies that are still left to pull out of the box. Let's see what we have. We have paper tape, and paper tape is used to tape down your fabric on your hoop. Kimmerbell always sends the best items. A collectible pen, and this collectible pen is for October. And let's not forget our glide thread. Plenty of thread left over for many uses. My machine loves glide thread. And there it is, that fabric that feels so nice to touch. And this is what you would make your projects with. They didn't send you any kind of fabric, but they sent you the best fabrics. And these fabrics was in the size of an 18x21. And you got several different types of fabrics. In this particular box, you receive 7 different types of fabric. The colors: Wildwood Nightfall, Silky Cotton, Solid Evergreen, Crimp Sage, Cotton Cloth Pink, Basket Weave, Essence Yarn Dye Homespun, and also you've got Ginger Ham Gold. Beautiful fabrics that you can make many of Perfectly Pieced projects with. I loved always unboxing the Perfectly Pieced box. Like I said, every month was like Christmas time when you saw the orange box show up at your door. Can't wait to get making this project. And let's not forget, share your machine embroidery experience with everyone that you know. So this is what you can expect. We just unboxed the project. We're going to cut the fabric, organize the fabric. We're going to hoop the project with the SEWTECH magnetic hoop, and we'll be using a 6x10 hoop. And that's just an overview of everything that came in the box. Also, we will be making block number 1 and block number 2. I included both blocks on one hoop, the 6x10. And let's not forget to square up the blocks. Oh, so let's go ahead now and cut some fabric. Wow, and cutting this fabric, now we're getting ready to get to the meat of the project. I like this because now you have some beautiful fabric that you must cut into whatever design or project that you chose. So on this particular project, we will be using the 4-inch block measurements. Now I can't give you the measurements because you got to have your own perfectly pieced box, but they are definitely in the instructions. So now that I'm cutting the fabric here, it's like I said, the fabric is going to be cut into 4-inch blocks measurements to be used in the 6x10 magnetic hoop by SEWTECH. So in these boxes, Kimberbell will give you an option where you could do 2-inch blocks, 4-inch blocks, 6-inch blocks, or even an 8-inch block. Not only that, she also put in other projects, and then there's other resources that you could use to help complete your project. Let's keep cutting. And you can always check back with your instructions that they send nice colorful instructions inside the perfectly pieced box to see what measurements that you're cutting the fabric to. That fabric chart helps out a bunch. And you also get a cutting diagram, a full material listed that's needed for this project that we've already covered. You will also know your embroidery fill, your trim size, and your finish size. But remember, you will have to go through to Kimberbell to get your digital design and extract your files. Don't forget that. So you get all the information you need to complete this project. We're done cutting fabric. I made it through. Yes. Let's get to organizing our fabric. I've got these fantastic little tabs that I could put on there. So one represents fabric 1, and that will represent where the fabric is placed in my design. Each design is numbered so you'll know where to place your fabrics. So we have a total of 6 fabrics. So now let's go with the hooping. We're going to be hooping with a SEWTECH SA441MK magnetic hoop, and the size of this hoop is a 6x10. So this is what I will be stitching the project out on, and I'm going to use 2 4-inch blocks will be stitched out on this hoop as well. And I've just used the no-show mash stabilizer for this project. Now I will be working on the EV1 Aveneer brother machine, and boy, I love that machine. So the first thing that the machine is going to do, we're going to stitch out the outline where the batting is going to go. The machine is gearing up, it's getting ready. So this is the first stitch that we're making. It is the stitch the batting placement line. And this is where you would place the batting. Now I am placing the batting over the stitch placement line, completely covering the placement line. This is the tack down stitch. It is tacking down the batting. So now we've got to come in and trim the batting. Be careful not to cut any stitches. It's good to cut as close to the stitches as you possibly can without cutting the stitches. Now the machine is going to tack down the stitch and stitch in the piece and template so you'll know exactly too where to put the fabric. No guessing where to put the fabric here. You have a complete template of where the fabric goes and where it should be placed. Now here comes the fun part. We get a chance to use that beautiful fabric. Let's place the piece fabric number 1. There's my number 1. And I have 2 pieces of fabric. 1 piece for this block and 1 piece for the block to come. Place the piece 1 fabric right side up, completely centered over section 1. Now let's stitch the trimming and the placement line. I got a little bit close to that line. Usually you would have the fabric moved over. But that's okay. I do have some to trim off. But let's be careful not to cut the stitches. So now we're trimming the fabric. Placement for fabric number 2. Place the piece number 2 fabric right side down, centered along the stitch line. Remember, you have a template to follow, so let's follow it. Let's stitch. We're stitching that seam. Let's go ahead and flip the fabric over. Flip the fabric right side up and press it well. You can go use a little mini iron for this. These come in perfectly in these little tight places. Please don't make the iron hot enough where you burn through your stabilizer or burn your fabric. Next thing that we're going to do, we're going to stitch, trim, place, stitch, and flip. So the first thing we're going to do is stitch the trim and placement line. Let's line up our fabric on the template that we have already stitched in. I'm making sure that I'm in the right place. Fantastic. So I have what? Stitched that placement line. Let's take it and iron it down. And that was piece number 3 that we used there. And we placed it right side down, center right over that stitch line. And we've already pressed it. Fantastic. The next fabric is piece 4. And so piece 4, you're going to place it right side of the fabric. I'm sorry, wrong side of the fabric. Let's place that wrong side of the fabric. And we're going to stitch it, and after we stitch it, then we'll trim. But let's get stitching first. I'm making sure that it's all lining up. Oh, oops, I forgot to trim my fabric. But you know, you can always fix mistakes in embroidery. Oh, I went back and fixed it. Good girl. Let's press it down. Now we're moving on to piece fabric number 5. We've got the stitch, place it in line, and then we're going to trim it. Let's try it again. Ah, we got it just right. Let's press it. And then we fold it over. That's piece number 6. The machine is doing an excellent job here. Let's see what we have. We got to change our thread, because now I'm using the thread that came in our kit. And what we're doing now is stitching the trimming line. There it is. Next, what we're going to do is stitch the custom block quilting. So we're stitching it there. Block number 1 has been completed. We're still stitching out the custom block quilting. Now you can either use the custom block quilting or just leave it like it is without any custom stitches on there, but they are always beautiful. That comes from Kimmerbell. So now I need to trim the block up just a little bit, because remember, I am putting on 2 blocks on this one SEWTECH magnetic hoop. And these are two 4-inch blocks. I wanted my trimming to look a little bit darker because I used a different color thread. So I just repeated the design to be stitched out. Let's finishing up block number 1. Moving right along to block number 2. Now what we're doing now is stitching the batting placement line. And this block will go a lot smoother because you always get a chance to improve on your second chance. And I'll point some of those things out to you. So there's the batting going down. I think I also realized too that I'm going to have to trim up the block number 1 to make sure I don't stitch on block number 1. Let's stitch the batting placement line. It's already down and now the batting is going on and the machine is stitching the batting down now. And make sure you always cover that placement line completely. Now this is the tack down line. Now it's time to trim. Let's trim block number 2. Make sure you trim it close to the line without cutting the stitches. This is 2 blocks on 1 hoop. 2 4-inch blocks. That means that I only had to hoop once. Now the machine will stitch down the piecing template. But before I can do that, I need to move some pieces out of the way. So I'm going to take the pieces down so it will not stitch down any pieces from block number 1. Now it is printing the template so you'll know exactly where to place your fabric. There's no guesswork here. So now we're getting ready to place fabric number 1. Place the piece 1 fabric right side up, completely centered over section 1. And you can always look at your diagram. Fantastic. So the machine has stitched the trimming line and the placement line. So now what we got to do is go and trim the fabric. Let's trim our fabric. Fantastic. So now we're rehooping and we're going for piece number 2. Place the piece 2 fabric right side down, centered along the stitch line. So the machine is at step number 5 and it will stitch the seam. Let's flip the fabric right side up and press it well. And Kimberbell instructions are so good. They will have icon pictures on the instructions so you'll know whether to stitch, flip, and iron. Moving on to piece 3. So we're getting ready for fabric number 3. So we're going to stitch the trimming line. And this is one of the things that I forgot in the first block that I did. I should have waited on the trimming line first, or to stitch the trimming line and the placement line, and then you know exactly where to place your fabric. I want to make sure that I stitched it in the right place. Let's flip it over. Trim if we need to trim. And press. So we're going to press along the seam so it'll be nice and flat. I love this little iron. It can get in all type of places. So let's move on to piece number 4. So let's stitch the placement line. There's the placement line. Let's press it. Now we should be moving on to piece 4. And this is the placement line for piece number 4. So we're going to line up our fabric. And we're lining it up right along that placement line that's already been stitched out. So now we're going to stitch. Fantastic. Flip and iron. We're moving along to piece 5, which is fabric number 5. Now I must admit there are a few places that I did not stitch, but right now we're going to stitch the placement line. There's a few places in here that I did not trim. I think I got distracted by the bad weather. Okay, so the placement line just went down. And now we've got to line up fabric piece number 5 and stitch it. Perfectly. I should have trimmed it, but I did not, so I'm just pressing. I forgot to trim. Now we're the placement line for piece number 6, which is our last piece of fabric. So we stitched the placement line, and now we're going to stitch the line to hold the fabric down. Okay, let's line it up. Let's stitch it out. Again, I forgot to trim it, so let's press it. And this is just a trial and error. I mean, just a trial of the 4-inch block. Okay, so now what we're doing now is stitching the trimming line. And the last thing we will do is stitch the custom block quilting stitch. That's always so beautiful. Music to my ears. Now we remove the project from the sewing machine, and now we're going to trim up the blocks, and let's see how we do. So remember I said that there are 2 4-inch blocks. And you know, you can take this same identical design and make an entire quilt. I love it. So easy. Remember, you have 2-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch, and an 8-inch block design that you could use. So let's trim up. We're trimming the blocks, and so we made 2 blocks in one pass. I'm using the trimmer by George. I love this. If you do not have a trimmer by George, you need to get one. It is fantastic. It keeps you from trimming your stitch lines as well. Oh, I think I need another blade. Let's finish trimming. Oh, I just had an accident with my blade. Let's just replace it. Block 1 trimmed, and that's the 4-inch block. Block 2 is up for trimming. And you can take on Trimmer by George has a measurement on there. You have a 1/4 of an inch and an inch measurement that you can line it up with the lines that's already on your block and trim it to whatever you choose. This is so satisfying. To see your project come out to a 4-inch block that you can turn into a quilt. Let's see what we have. Oh, different ways you can place your blocks. Oh, that's nice. You gotta love it. So now you have to do is stitch those together. Fantastic. I like a finished block. I didn't have to worry about measuring, cutting, anything, but the block is completely done. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video and found something that will help you and inspire you with your next sewing, embroidery, or quilting project. If you enjoyed today's video, please take a moment to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe to Grace of Elegance and Designs by Viveca. And don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that you will be notified of an upcoming new video or go live. I always enjoy hearing from you. So let me know in the comments what you're working on, what you learned today, or what you would like to see me demonstrate in the upcoming video. Thank you for being a part of the Grace of Elegance community. Your support means so much to me. Until next time, remember, stitch, create, share, inspire. And don't forget to go out and tell someone just how much you care.